once again.
Hey there, sweet lovers. We are live with our special guest, and I want you guys to know we were just talking behind the scenes. Man, fired up with E40 and Too Short tonight on Versus Battle. Are you?
No,
What?
no.
No, I mean there was at this point when I was singing all the lyrics, I was like, okay, what was that speech I just gave my granddaughter about WAP? Okay, because I knew all the lyrics.
See, and that's exactly why people can't get upset. The older generation,
Right.
our generation, can't get upset about WAP. We can't get
We
upset about
can't.
WAP. But
I mean,
that's
I
another
was
story.
listening to the words, and then I had this revelation that I don't think I really understood what I was saying. Not deeply. Like, and I was like, maybe the kids don't know what they're saying. They're just dancing. So, I
That's the
cleaned
thing.
that up for your moms, young people, if you're listening. So I cleaned that up. You can tell your mom, if you listen to Too Short, please don't come for me. You're probably gonna get punished, but you can tell. You can say because oh wow, those lyrics. But they are
I
schooling the gang. That they're talking to the children that are in the gangs, and they're giving them some real jewels about that silliness and faking it and out there in the streets causing all these deaths. And I love how they represent it in that way about stop all that. Like if you some of y'all rapping about it, get in the real ghetto and wouldn't survive a minute. Like E40 is on a roll tonight.
are they still going?
Yeah, yeah. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to start with our guest. Please tell everyone who you are.
Absolutely. So, my name is Rick Lockhart. I am the host of both Color Full Circle, that's Full Circle, with
Okay.
my better half and fiance, Al Young. We're on a bit of a hiatus at the moment for that show, but it will be returning very soon. But
Okay.
I currently host the show In Black and White on YFNA News. And it's a show and a platform that gives us an opportunity to discuss race and racism in America. The show got started around the time that Ahmaud Arbery was murdered in the middle of the street in Atlanta, or the Atlanta area. And I reached out to my co-host, Ethan Michael, who is a white guy, and I'm a black guy. So that's why In Black and White.
In
And
black and white. That makes
it
sense. In
makes
black and
perfect sense,
white.
right? Right, exactly. But we really
Yeah.
wanted to have a conversation around why more people, specifically white people, weren't as outraged as they should have been. And of course, that was prior to the George Floyd murder. However, it definitely was a point for me that we needed to start having the conversations around race and racism. So you can find In Black and White just by following YFNA News on YouTube. And we go live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, discussing race and racism in America. Had a very prolific show this past Wednesday. And Dee, thank you so much for sharing that show to have conversations
I
around.
loved it. I
Yeah,
loved it. And you guys are always straight no chaser. Can I get that? That's your little hashtag, straight no chaser.
that listen, if you see that's how I do.
That's how you roll.
That
Exactly.
is.
So
That's how I roll.
that's exactly how it should be. I was intrigued by you guys and Ethan. I have not forgot about you. You're coming on my show. I'm telling you, Ethan, when I bring you on my show, I'm bringing you into a platform of people that are 90% Christian on my platform. So you are going to have the best time on my show.
We
I
do
had
differ
an
there.
atheist from UK was on my show some years ago, and oh, it's fun.
Yes,
But
yes.
I love it. Yeah,
But
bring that
he's
real.
always been open to having conversations and friendly
Okay,
conversations with Christian
not
believers.
aggressive because
Not at all.
I left the Christian religious platform around 2007 and went into my whole spiritual thing. So I have conversations with Ethans all the time, like from all walks of life, all the time. You
Yeah.
will not get attacked on my show. They'll get blocked. All right.
Right.
They will get blocked. All
Well,
right.
you
So
also have our sibling show, if I can shout them out for a second, the
yeah, yeah.
13%, who is actually author. Both of them, Cynthia McDonald and Arthur Ward, the hosts of that show, are also both atheists. But they are part of a community that and the show specifically talks about the policies and politics that affect the Black community or impact the Black community. Hence the 13%. They're on a bit of a hiatus, but we'll be returning on MLK birthday or MLK celebration day. I can't remember which one, in January of next year.
Awesome. I love that. And make sure that they share those links. Feel free to do that underneath here because we want to follow. We want to have the conversations. 2021 is we're opening doors to being more open-minded viewers. So a lot of people like to believe their thought process and they don't want to move into another direction. And I'm telling you, I said this to my guest when I had Sick Flow on earlier, that George Floyd's baby, when she was spinning around in a circle on her God, she said it. My daddy changed the world. The world has changed. If you're on the other side of that, I do not know how to catch you up. Okay, you got a lot of work to do.
Let's not. There are
Yeah.
so many people who still haven't caught up yet. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Now I want you to tell us about your birthplace. I can't remember from the other interview. Tell us about your birthplace. Is it
Sure.
Chicago?
Sure, of course. Well, so here, Ms. D, here's why I don't think that the current or tonight's versus battle was appealing to me. So
Okay.
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland,
Okay.
and I lived in Ellicott City for I think about 3 years. I don't remember it, but I have this East Coast blood that just runs through me. So having
Right.
said that, E40 and
Right.
Too Short, don't get me wrong, there's music from both of them that I enjoyed growing up,
Right.
but
Right.
that's not the music that, when it comes to the rap and hip hop era of the 90s and of the early 2000s and even the late 80s, that wasn't my thing. You can give me Nas, give me Biggie, give me Jay, give me KRS One all day long.
Right.
Give me that East Coast hip hop, right?
Right.
The West Coast wasn't bad. It's just not what I was drawn to. So being born in Baltimore, I think had a big part of that. At least that's what I'm
we
going.
just had a Baltimore guest on. Okay, be more.
That's what I'm telling myself. Yo, it's Baltimore.
Exactly.
That's Baltimore with a D, not a T. It's Baltimore. You got to get it right.
Baltimore.
Right,
Okay, Baltimore. It's like that in Texas. There are certain things we just do not say it the same. All right, I learned something tonight. Baltimore.
It's Baltimore,
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have this saying that we say back home. We say, "No, I'm talking about," and people are
Right.
like, "No, I really don't." But yeah, we say, "No, I'm talking about," and you need to know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Now, Rick, describe yourself in a hashtag.
So I was thinking about this, and when it comes to a hashtag for me, I think the best hashtag would be it's a Bible verse that I live kind of my life around, and it's simply just a hashtag in all thine getting get understanding, or hashtag get an understanding. Right. That's really how I live my life, both professionally and personally. We live in a world that always, especially on social media, always wants to jump to assumptions and jump to conclusions rather than taking a moment and just trying to get an understanding, right? That's the most important thing. So I would think my hashtag for me would be hashtag get an understanding. But the hashtag that I just recently kind of started going with as of a couple of nights ago was hashtag I'm just gonna say it.
That's it. That's 2021. That's the motto.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
Unapologetically. Can you guys still see this? Unapologetically. Just
and unbothered, right?
Exactly. Unbothered, unbothered, unapologetically. We are just going to say it. You guys will catch up. All right.
There you go.
And that's the thing with me. That was why I was able to take the Bible with me when saying I'm walking away from the church, because there's so many great lessons in there and teachings in there. And I just hate to see what I experienced back in Texas with the religious lifestyle. So I love that one. And all that getting understanding. There you go.
It's my favorite.
You guys write that down. We've been writing all day because they've been teaching us so much. Okay, so all righty, Rick. So what's one thing people do not know about you? Whether in your circle or your viewers, what do people not know about you?
Yeah, so I don't know if there's something that people don't know about me. And the only reason I can't necessarily answer that is because I tend to live my life, or at least I think I do, in a form of an open book. but I don't know what people don't know about me. And I think that's just more so because, you know, maybe people don't ask. And I feel like all of my information of who I am is out there somewhere. But I don't really necessarily withhold anything. So I'm always, though, Ms. D, I'm always kind of amused when people tell me, I never knew that you were gay. And I'm like, how did you not know? I think my social media has my
it's pretty
and
clear that
like,
your love is, you
advocate
guys
for the
are
LGBTQ community, but I had a part of my life where, you know, that wasn't as out as it was. So maybe that's why. But I don't think that there's again, I don't know what people don't know about me because no one really asks. And I tend to put everything out there.
Let me go into LGBTQA, if I can interrupt. I'm sorry. You know,
yeah,
I'm
no, go ahead.
interrupt. Yeah, the baby Oprah, always interrupting. Okay.
Do it. Get it.
I'm sorry. But let me ask you that, you know, when we talk about the shock that people had with Lil Nas X and when he came out, what was your moment like in the people that said, what? I didn't know that about. Did you have a coming out moment like this happening these days, or is this just something your family, you know, were in on that? So how did that happen for you?
Well, that's a great question. So a lot of my friends knew because I told them. But my family did not know until 2012. And during 2012, it was a very pivotal point in time for me in life. I had just moved to New Jersey. I was just starting a new career with a restaurant concept, and that consisted of a lot of travel. But at that time, I'd also found a group of Black gay men who were like the core of my experience in New Jersey. Now, remember what I said earlier, I was born on the East Coast, right? So I have this East Coast blood that I think runs through me. And I loved living in New Jersey and New York. But what I really enjoyed about that was the group of friends, specifically the Black gay male group that I had, this core group that were like brothers. And a lot of them were from Chicago who had migrated to the Northeast. So having that bond and kind of that brotherhood and experiencing a brand new relationship with a guy that I wanted to share on my social media platform because I was finally comfortable in being a gay Black man. And in addition to that, I also have to note in the Northeast, or specifically when I was in that area, it was a different vibe than Chicago. It wasn't the same type of skepticism and same type of double take that you get in Chicago for walking down the street hand in hand, two guys. There, it was the norm, right? And I appreciated that. So when I decided that I wanted to share that relationship with my family, I decided I needed to, with my social media platform, I wanted to tell my family first before doing it.
That's good.
And it wasn't necessarily a coming out per se, but they did not know. My mother's response was simply, you know, that's a difficult life to live, and I wouldn't want that for you, you know, but you have to live your life. And my family has always been very supportive of that, and I'm grateful.
Love that response,
that
Mom.
I've had
Thank you for being that. Yeah, Mom of the Year with that, because you don't want to attack. I do not like attacking. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but
you
I'm
can
grateful.
keep going because I have people that are struggling with that, and I had a conversation with a kid that said he was doing some artwork for me, and he said, I'm in the church. And I found that funny because all of the Christian, especially non-denominational music ministry is gay. If they don't know, then I'm here to let you know that you're gay. And so when he said that he couldn't come out, I was like, what? You're in the music ministry, the leader of your band. If he don't know, I'll go tell him, you know. But
well,
so,
you know,
here's
the thing with that, and it's unfortunate. It's severely unfortunate. In fact, it's one of the reasons that I think I stepped away from Christianity, the religion itself, originally. You know, I'm grateful that right now the church that I belong to is inclusive, and it specifically what we call showing the face of Jesus, right? It explains and demonstrates what love actually looks like. So we have various members of the LGBTQ community. In fact, my fiance is the head of the music ministry and worship arts. That's actually how we met. We met in church, so I'm grateful for
And
that.
what's wrong with it's music. Music is just like it has its own language. So why do they have to hide it? Why do they have so many that feel that they need to hide it? Like,
Well, it's unfortunate
not
that
walking your truth is what I
it's
don't like. Yeah.
it's because of the demonization that comes along with that, because of religion, and specifically because of Christianity, as well as some other religions too. But at the end of the day, I again, like I said, I'm grateful that I have a church family that understands, supports, and loves us.
Yeah.
To your friends who are dealing with that, I will say this, and I will say this time and time again, as many times as I need to, as often as I need to: get some therapy. I know in the Black community, we don't really promote therapy like we should, and maybe we're coming around a bit now finally. But I have to the daily commitment that I have to tell myself, because of what I learned during those formative years from Christianity, because of my sexuality and sexual orientation. It takes the therapy that I'm in. It takes therapy to continue on. So I strongly suggest and urge: find you a therapist and get into therapy.
An ongoing therapy. I'm so glad that you said that, because it's not something that can be done outside of counseling, not just working with being gay. Like,
Right.
our life in Black skin,
Yes.
it can't be done outside of outside of counseling. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, like we all have our demons, and I just, I am not a fan. I like your church. I love everything your church represents, because I'm not a fan of people. Um, there was one church I went to, and they put a skirt over the girl that came in because she had a short skirt on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, the pastor's sleeping with her. Like, what's the point of doing that? Like, I just don't. Let's just go in there and keep it real. But
And
thank you
listen,
for sharing that.
I don't know if I did the traditional Baptist. My church is West Point Missionary Baptist Church over on.
Okay.
I'm not give the whole
Okay.
address.
No, do it.
West
We want
Point.
to hear
I mean,
it.
we're virtual right now, but you can always find us at West Point Missionary Baptist Church on Facebook too. Join us in our Sunday worship service.
So you are. You said West Point Missionary Baptist Church.
That's
Did they
correct.
get the name from the military?
I don't believe so. No,
Okay.
but I think there are two. There's one in Mississippi, and there's one here in Chicago. But the one here in Chicago is the one that I attend.
Okay, got it. Okay, so all right, we're gonna move on, and we'll come back to that also. What's one thing that I'm sorry, we did that. What's your wake up ritual? See, we don't have an editor.
So I'm right. Exactly. That's okay. That's totally okay. So it's funny that you asked my wake up ritual, because I'm like, that's do people have wake up rituals? But as I thought about that, I do. So typically the wake up ritual is to kind of get up, and it takes me a minute to kind of realize that it's time for me to get up. But it also depends on if it's a working day or not a working day. But if it's a working day, then there is a ritual that I try to adhere to. One of the things that I try to do is, the first thing that I try to do when I wake up, if my other half is not awake, then try to slide out of the bed kind of quietly, so I don't disrupt his sleeping. But I go see the pups that greet me every morning, like, hey, we've been waiting for you to wake up. Hurry up so you can come and pet us.
Yeah. That's good.
Get in the bathroom, get myself together for work. It might be shaving my head that morning or not. But depending on how I shave my head, how clean and smooth my head comes out when I shave it, it determines how my day is going to be.
Okay. I'm engaged to one of those, so I understand that.
Exactly.
I understand that completely.
If I miss a spot of something, I know it's going to be one of those rough days that I'm just gonna have to deal with, and sometimes it's not. But that's kind of how I gauge how my day is going to be. And then from there, it's get ready for work. Sometimes the night before, I'll have my outfit ready to go. Sometimes I'm just kind of pulling some things together to get ready and head out. Also, that also depends on how late I've slept, how many times I've hit that snooze button.
Oh gosh, I love that snooze button. Yeah,
that snooze button on that phone is I know exactly where it is depending on where my phone is.
You can do it in your sleep. You're like,
yes,
that's me.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm out the door. And if I want to stop by Starbucks to make sure that the people that I'm dealing with have a beautiful side of me, then I'm gonna try my hardest to get out early enough
That
to
is
help
a
them.
beautiful way of putting that. I did not
Yes.
realize that that's why I went to Starbucks. I do it so that the people that are dealing with me for the day have a good experience.
I want them to have the greatest experience dealing with me. So I'm gonna try my hardest to stop by Starbucks.
That's good.
Working
Yeah.
in restaurants though, for the duration of time that I have, I can still put on the face whether I have my Starbucks or not. It just
Yeah.
helps if I have that
No,
Starbucks.
I'm an espresso queen. When I mean, I can try McDonald's, but I'm gonna go with Cardi B. McDonald's will make you shit, so I will try. That is literally her quote. But she said 7-Eleven and McDonald's will make you shit. She's so funny.
I don't mind McDonald's though. I'll take McDonald's to 7-Eleven. I just prefer
I have
to swing by
McDonald's, but I
Starbucks.
know what's coming. I had it earlier during my show, and I know what's coming. I know what's coming. Okay, that's TMI. So,
I was gonna say, hopefully you took care of that before the show started. That's just my thought
that
process.
is so funny. But no, it was during the I was drinking it right before, and I like to add friends to coffee. Friends like Tito's, Ciroc, or whoever would like to show up to coffee. Yeah.
I was going with
So
Bailey's or Grand Marnier or even Kahlua in coffee, but I
that
also understand,
yeah, you understand
the
that
other
extra
friends
that needs
too.
to go in there to get on the
Yes.
camera and do
Yes.
this. Yes.
So while I'm live on Facebook, none of that gets added to the Starbucks that I take with me to work.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
That's
All
right.
right.
Disclaimer.
Yes.
Mine does not go with me to work on
That
any of my driving jobs.
My adult coffee does not go with me to work. My
That's
adult
right. That's in
coffee
the
is for when I'm at
evening.
home. Or when
That's
I'm at home.
right.
The days
Thank
that I
you for
wake up and
that
I don't
disclaimer.
have to be at work, then I have my adult coffee.
I love it. I'm gonna call it adult coffee from now on because I do need to watch it. My children are gonna be looking at me like next time I go to their house, like,
Is that your adult
what's in
coffee?
the coffee?
Right.
So so funny. Okay, so I will go on now to we talked about the wake up ritual. You do have one, but let's talk now about your workout and diet. Is what do you do? Is it daily? Are you starting something new?
So, funny that that comes up because I
Okay.
was just speaking to a friend, someone that I actually not a friend, somebody that I had crossed paths with on a Facebook comment, and we were engaging about a how to kind of find a sustainable and effective way to
Mhm.
have a routine when it comes to diet and even working out, but more so diet. I
Right.
also, I've been, as we're preparing for our wedding coming up next year, the
Yes.
goal
Mhm.
is to have something substantial and some weight loss. So I'm in the market
Yeah.
for
That's good.
individuals that can
Mhm.
help out with that. But I have
Okay.
some good people now that I'm engaging with so that we can prepare for the wedding. But as of
Let me
now, the
give
answer
you
for
some
how.
motivation, Rick.
Okay.
Go to Honey's profile and look at my engagement photos that Slick Flow did. And once you see what I look at engagement for not getting ready, you will be
Mm.
like, got it. Like I'm getting ready. I watch my 600-pound life to get ready, so that'll be your motivation. Like not doing that because it was
Okay.
so beautiful of a scene in the mountains, and here
Uh,
I am with Fupa and all my friends showed up. I'm like, all my friends.
well,
Why did all my friends
I'll
show
tell
up?
you that during the quarantine and during the COVID quarantine, I'm so grateful to have a wonderful chef that lives with me and is my
Nice,
partner in life. However,
nice.
what that entailed was an extra like 25 pounds that
It's just, yeah,
I was
I
able to put on.
know the story.
So
Yes.
I in my new position, well, the position that I was currently working in before my new position coming up, I was able to lose just over 20 pounds because of the rigorous work responsibilities that I had.
Right.
However, having said that, because I'm leaving that job and
Right.
going back into my career, I don't necessarily know what that's going to look like. So
Right.
to answer your question, I am currently engaging a few resources to help
That's
with
good.
a substantial and effective not just workout
It's
routine,
all
but
about
also
the
diet.
photos. It's all about those gorgeous photos. Like
Right. We have to have
you have
gorgeous
to.
photos for the
Yeah,
wedding.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the motivation for it. And I'm telling you, like when I went into the gig economy really hard at the end of this year,
Mhm.
and I am not one of the recipients of the Amazon X that's giving all the money. But I'm here to let you guys know that if you drive logistics for Amazon, you will take off 12 pounds your first week.
Mm.
Amen. So my first week, I was like,
All
how do
right.
we get in and out the truck? Why is everybody on the street have a box? Like if
Right.
and then you go to the fifth floor apartment, girl, couldn't you not have picked it up at the yellow Amazon box? Like, yeah, so you're gonna lose a lot of weight. I just advertised the weight loss through Amazon.
Well,
Woo, 20
I
20
won't
pounds
I
now.
won't necessarily say that Costco has helped me, but it is Costco that helped me
I mean, it's
with
that
my weight
moving
loss. So
around. Yeah, that moving
so
around
if
is
you are looking
serious.
for another part of employment and you can't get into
That's
Amazon,
that's
check your
right.
availability at Costco. They'll help you
Those
lose that
type
weight.
of jobs, I have a new respect for everyone in that industry after this year. New
Yep, you and me
respect.
both.
Like, yeah, yeah, they really do sweat. So let's go on to describe, I mean, to tell us about, you told us about the talk show and tell us how it's on YouTube and Facebook. Are you
Yep.
guys going to go to TikTok? Where are you guys going with your show?
Well, I don't know if we're going to go on TikTok, but you can find us on platforms outside of Facebook and YouTube, also on Anchor, and I'm thinking
Okay.
maybe Apple Podcasts at some point, or
Nice.
iHeartRadio. I don't know. That's thinking big, but we're definitely heading in that direction. We're looking,
Okay.
we want to continue to build the content as well as build, a great streaming platform. So you can always buy us a coffee or become a Patreon
Yeah.
to our channel, and please feel free to check out any of our Facebook posts or the any of the streams that have those links in there. But again, just by following us or subscribing to the channel on YouTube, that's YFNA News. You can subscribe, and that continues to help us get towards the monetization that we need to be able
Right.
to continue to provide great content and great streaming for our viewers.
I
Um,
just feel like you guys, once the pandemic ends and you can be back in the same corner, TikTok is going to pay all your bills. Like,
well,
I'm telling you, like, it's really
so
going to be
I just
serious.
learned how to use TikTok, and as I just followed you,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
very recent. I've had TikTok, and this is a funny story, but a true story. I've had TikTok for like over a year,
Oh,
and
wow.
I thought that I'm just too old for TikTok. I can't figure TikTok out, but I
Right.
see all these older people than I am on TikTok,
Yeah.
and it took over Thanksgiving. My other half's sister's friend, who's also a friend of mine, who had to sit me down and show me how to use TikTok. And we did our first
Okay.
TikTok video together, or at least my first TikTok video. And now I'm
Yeah.
obsessed. Now I'm obsessed. I'm like,
Yes, I'm obsessed
I'm
too.
here for all
Yeah.
of the dances. I'm here for everything that I
Yes.
can do on TikTok. So
Yes.
if we get a chance to get on TikTok, great. But we do have Ethan has Twitch. We have Anchor that our shows get uploaded to.
Okay.
There's a lot of room for growth, but there's also a lot of growth that has happened. And we come up
Right.
on our year for YFNA News in March.
Nice. Nice. Love
So
it.
we're
Love it.
excited
Love
about
it.
that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that for you guys also. And I like it, and I will make sure that I go on there because I didn't know you were on Anchor. So I like that also.
Yes.
Um Next, I'm going to ask you, what would you say is the most important part of your work? A lot of people think that you're sitting here because you want to be famous tomorrow. And that's not what the calling is on our lives. So,
It's not. It's
what's
not.
the most important part of your work?
Well, so there's a few things here. The first thing when you asked that question, I immediately went into my current work position as well as the career that I'm going back into.
Okay.
So but based on what you just said, yeah, sitting here in this position, and if you see any of the live streams, this is the studio and by studio I mean the
Set.
room
Get
that I
nothing more.
that I
Yeah.
stream from, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So I'll start with that. It's not that I'm trying to sit here and get rich and get famous, but what I am doing that I enjoy is streaming, is broadcasting, and is having discussions around pertinent conversations that need to be had. That's why we started in Black and White. The conversation around race and racism in America and globally needed to have a platform. And not that I'm going to provide, or Ethan's going to provide, or even Cynthia or Arthur is going to provide this outlandish platform, but you know, as we've had our streams, there have been people that have gotten some great information, especially this past week when we had, you know, the doctors on who talked about the racism and implicit racial biases in healthcare, right? And the doctoral candidates that we had on that talked about vaccines and vaccinations and the development of. That's information that we want to be able to provide, or I want to be able to provide to our viewers and anyone who comes across our show. As far as the most important thing about my work when it comes to career, the one thing that I always rely on is, and well, I guess I shouldn't say one thing, but two things. The first thing is being able to build great relationships. And that's whether it's with the team that I'm working with or the people that I'm taking care of, right? So whether it's at Costco or it's at the restaurant concept that I work at or work with, which will be Cooper's Hall coming up here soon, building great relationships is something that I think is very, very important, you know, when it comes to who we are as human beings. People want to connect relationally, right? They want to have someone that they can just feel that they connect with, and I think that's important. And it's a talent, and it's something that I've embodied for quite some time, since my high school years, maybe even grammar school years.
That's good. You were born with it. You had the gift, and you tapped into
I'm
it.
grateful to both of my parents, but specifically my mother for nurturing it, the ability to be charismatic and foster those relationships. The other thing is providing a wonderful and memorable experience. I try to do that in our broadcasting, but I definitely do that when it comes to the careers that I've worked in. I want to make sure that the people that I engage with, again, whether it be the team that I'm working with or the people that I'm providing a service for, you have a memorable experience, one that's enjoyable, one that you can go to someone else and say, yo, the last time I was there, this happened and it was great, right? I think especially in the restaurant hospitality industry that I've spent more than 20 years working in, that's what people go out for. They go out because they want a memorable experience that was something that they want to come back to. And I love being able to provide that for both the people that I provide a service to, but also in a leadership position. I want the team that I work with, the team that I'm fortunate enough to serve as their manager, that they have a chance to develop. They have a chance to pursue maybe a growth in a career, or they just learn some things that they can take somewhere else with them. That's important.
That's good. So you're not even trying to hold on to them. You're like, I'm molding you, and
yeah,
where you go next.
Yeah, and take that somewhere else.
Exactly.
Pass that on. So that's the important thing about my work. I think that I enjoy the most in any aspect. I mean, even at Costco right now, I enjoy learning about their systems, but being able to provide using some of my experience to, you know, kind of help shape some things for them or the members of Costco, you know, knowing that they had a great experience and want to come back.
Exactly. And that's what I want. And what you said, as a consumer, I'm choosing where I go, and I love Yelp. For everyone that I go to your place, I love Yelp. So
Right.
I do. It's about the experience. I want to have a good experience. And if it's not good, I'm going to go to social media, and you're not going to want me to come by again. But
Well, you know
like,
what, Dee?
I really care about that. I want you to care about me, that I'm spending my money.
You know, something that is a study showed that people who have a great experience when they go somewhere probably will tell maybe one person.
Right.
People who had a bad experience will tell over 10 people.
Yes,
They
that's a good
also
one.
a study also showed that people who had a perfect experience may come back, but people who had a horrible experience and it was rectified are more than likely going to come back.
That part. And that's why I do the good and the bad on my Yelp, because that's true. That's
Yeah,
exactly true. Like if
yeah,
you worked hard to contact me and ask me what happened and work with you, yeah, I love that.
yep.
Yeah,
And
that's
you're
good.
going to be way more loyal if a
Mhm. Mhm.
situation was handled correctly,
Mhm.
than if you just came and your experience was flawless all the way through. You will get
Exactly.
more loyalty from someone who's had an experience that didn't go right and it was rectified. So,
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
that
it.
the thing that the adrenaline rush for me is
Mhm.
being able to conquer, those bad experiences and turn
Yeah,
them
that's
into
good.
good. But I also
That's
think
good.
that's just something that us that work in the restaurant industry, we thrive. We like that's our thing.
Yes, and, until you get to Colorado, and then they only thrive if you have the right skin color in certain restaurants by the majority. But I'm
Mm,
teaching them. I'm
mm.
here from Texas, Texan and Colorado, teaching them how it goes.
I don't know if I know much about the Denver area when it comes to that, but duly noted, just in
Oh,
case I got to get out there for.
I mean, because it just like let me tell you how it goes. I like to go comfortable most of the time. So sometimes
Mhm.
I might, they don't know if I'm going to be a dress up person. So I'm going to go in a hoodie and some jeans or a hoodie and leggings. That's big here.
Sure.
The white girl can wear hoodie and leggings. Nothing said. But let me come in with hoodie and leggings and you get a
Mm.
whole different kind of treatment.
Ooh,
And
those
I have
curves.
friends,
Ooh, those
yes.
curves.
And I have friends from all walks of life, and they'll say that was a different experience than what you happened to you in there. So, yeah. But you're not gonna have no problems when you get to Denver. The way that you dress and your demeanor, you're gonna be fine.
Well,
They're gonna
I
treat you like
definitely
they treat
I
honey.
I put on my almost kind of Christmas sweater
I
for
love it. He loves
for
Christmas sweaters as well. I don't know what's up with you guys. Oh, I'm always like Christmas sweaters go away because they don't look good on me. But you guys have a
well,
fair skin, so it looks good. Yeah, I like them.
well, I'm sure you look
Yeah,
good on anybody, but what I don't have when it
yeah,
comes to the gauging is fashion. Well, there's a few things
yeah,
I didn't get, but anyway, outside of that,
yeah. But it's
I
just it's your demeanor. You know how to engage, and you're a people person immediately. Me, I am a people person, and people gravitate to me. But when I can see that you don't like that part about me, that skin color thing, my Malcolm X shows up, and I don't want Malcolm X to show up. I just want to eat dinner. But
So I had one experience in Denver, only one experience in Denver. I was on my way taking a friend to LA. She was moving to LA, and we actually stopped in Denver for a quick nap, is what I call it. And I remember when I got to Denver, I drove. We were heading towards the mountains, and I started looking around, and I'm like, no one else is black here. And then we got to a restaurant that said Chicago style something, and nothing tasted.
lots of those here.
Listen, nothing tasted Chicago style. Let's be clear. But on our way out, and again,
That's
seen no
funny.
black people yet. On our way
Yeah.
out at like 4 in the morning, because at that time I was a smoker and my head was just like a headache. That highness. We stopped by
Yes.
a gas station at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and the gas station attendant, the person that was working in the kind of store area, was I think black guy, black African guy. And I asked him, I said, how many black people are out here? And I think he
Yeah.
said he gave me, I can't remember what the number was,
Yeah.
but he gave me a specific number, and he said
But
black
that's bothersome.
males is what he said. It's like six
Yeah.
black males or something. And I'm like,
Right. Right. That's very
you
true.
know that
Mhm.
specifically?
That's just
It's
the
time for me
fact
to
that you
go.
can say what
Right.
neighborhood, like being in the gig business is not long before I know my black neighbors, and the fact that you can know where everyone lives, like gentrification has pushed black people out of the old Denver into this area called Green Valley Ranch. And so if you don't see them in old Denver or Green Valley Ranch, or I live in Greenwood Village, Colorado, Broncos home area. So
Sure.
when
Sure.
you're in the Tri County is all just one. Like I can walk to Denver; it's across the highway, right? But it's all about where you are. Like they will say to me when I go to different places, I need your zip code or something like that. When at the end of checking out. And
Right.
so you're in Aurora, right? So no, I'm in Greenwood Village, you know, and they're like, oh, okay. Like they know where they have black people placed at here. Very bothersome.
Wow.
Look at the
Wow.
percentages up, you guys, viewers. When you know, we'll move on past that, but yeah, you can look at the percentages. I believe it's 5% of African Americans in Denver and 4% of African Americans in Colorado. So there's that.
Well,
Yeah, that's disturbing.
so funny that you mentioned the Aurora, Colorado area with the murder that happened there.
Elijah
What was it?
McClain, justice
Uh,
for Elijah
I was gonna say
McClain.
right, Elijah McClain's
Hmm.
murder. What was it, last
Hmm.
year or the year before?
Last
Uh,
year. Hmm.
it was
Yeah.
last year, yeah. And
Hmm.
I remember.
Hmm.
So Chicago has, and I'm so sorry that this happened. And we should have done a little bit better research. But when it first kind of hit the scene, or when I was first exposed to it, the Chicagoland area has a suburb called it's called Aurora. And when I found out
Hmm.
about this, I incorrectly noted that it was in Aurora, Illinois, and not
Oh
Aurora, Colorado.
no.
And the mayor who
Right.
watches our show, and I had no idea that he watches the show,
Wow.
reached out and was like, "No, no, no, it's Aurora, Colorado. It's
Yeah.
not Aurora, Illinois." I was
Get
like,
that off of us
"Oh,
because
that's horrible."
yeah,
But
yeah.
Aurora has had its share of racial
From the
incidents too
theater shooting, they've been on the map quite a while, but
since.
racism, like the little girl that they threw on the ground for going to the nail shop, you know, it's just been embarrassing to see. I
I
love
didn't see
that.
that.
Yeah, I have to share that one with you.
Shoot
They
that
were
to
in a
me.
car. I will, Rick, because they were in a car and it was girls' day with the family, and I'm not sure if it was her auntie or whoever.
Oh
And
yes, 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 yes.
mistake, how
I
do you
remember.
mistake
Yep.
a little sedan for a
For
motorcycle?
yep, and for a motorcycle. Yep, exactly. I do remember that.
Oh my
I do remember that.
gosh.
And it's like,
Heartbreaking.
but again, this
Heartbreaking.
is this is why we have these discussions on in black and
Right.
white, because some people don't even really believe that this happens.
Right. Right. And it does happen, people, and I need y'all to be a part of the people that are having the conversations, because if you're not, you're on the wrong side of history. Please wake up. Let's
Yep.
talk about it. We have to just talk about it. But
Well,
indeed,
next
I'm
week
glad you told me
we're
that.
looking at talking to people who are changing protests into policies, and we're looking to get guests
Yes.
on who are actually looking to and being a part of, excuse me, making effective policy changes. So
Right. Because it's
that's what
going
it's
to
going to
take
take.
that.
Yep,
It's going to
that's what it's
take
going to
that.
take.
These incidents will continue. I mean, apparently for 401 years, unless we
Yes,
actually do
exactly.
some actual policy changes. So
Yep.
I'm really glad that you're going to put a focus on that, Rick. Okay, so I'm keeping you, and I know your fiance is like, she's got one more question,
You,
but
I
I do.
mean,
I have a few more.
you have a few more. You have a few more.
I do. I have a few more. I'm so sorry.
He's
Okay.
getting Sunday dinner ready. So if he
Yes.
hasn't
Okay.
commented yet, it's because he's in the kitchen and he's
No,
working on Sunday
spoiled.
dinner.
You're spoiled. See,
I am.
I just had dinner right before. I love that. I love that part about relationships. Um,
Yeah.
and you worked all day, so that's really good. I
Well,
love that.
we both worked all day.
Oh, so you're like me, because Honey works all day, and then I'll still. Well, you're cooking because I'm a big girl that doesn't cook, and that bothers people. Like they're like, she be in the kitchen. No, she don't be in the kitchen. She be in the restaurant getting all the dinner together. Like when I first dated him, he was like, "Big girl that cook." I don't know what he thought, but I'll get the food and put it on fancy plates from the restaurant.
Wow.
Got you, girls. I got you, non-cooking girls. Put
Wow.
it on a
Yeah,
fancy plate and
you're
put that
doing
at
better
the
than
table with
me.
the candles.
And people ask, like, how have you worked in restaurants for as long as you have and don't cook? And I say it all the time. Let me be clear. It's not that I don't cook. It's not that. It's
Yeah,
just that
yeah.
I have someone in my life who cooks way better than
That's
I
good.
do and has
That's
a
good.
lot of great traditional recipes. And when he opens
Yeah.
his restaurant, then everyone else can actually get a chance to experience and benefit
Exactly.
from and love the cooking that he does
And you're
and will understand.
practicing. Yeah, you're practicing. This one has food truck goals. So I'm just helping you guys. So make sure it's still good when
Well
it gets
done,
out
Dee.
there.
We appreciate that.
So, all right. So let's talk now. We did talk about your role at work, but you kind of said it. But what do you feel like your exact role is in the Black community?
Yeah. So there's this question. It really kind of took me aback. I think first, for starters, I enjoy being able to provide a platform that shares a bit of the Black experience to any one of our viewers who watches in black and white. I also think that when Color Full Circle comes back on, and when Color Full Circle was around, it also shared a platform for the Black gay male experience, the Black gay male Christian experience, because Color Full Circle was a
Okay.
platform that we had discussions about things that impacted the communities that both Al and I identify with, right? So
Right,
being Black,
right,
being gay, being male, being Christian, right? These are the things that we have to deal with, both in privilege as well as in
right,
persecution. So
right.
these were the conversations that we were able to share with people, and I think that was it was a benefit to the Black community.
That's good.
However,
Because that needs to be a window for that. Yeah,
it
we
has
need
to be.
representation.
It has to be.
Hmm.
Representation is big, but also, advocating for, fighting for racial equality and fighting against anti-Black. I've been since we've done it started in black and white, and we've created this ability to have a discussion
That's
around
good.
what racism actually looks like. For me, it's given me a complete different perspective on what I've been taught, what I've learned in white Catholic schools, and finding a direction from there. So I think
That's good.
when it comes to to answer your question, my role or my contribution to the Black community, outside of just being Black and sharing the experiences,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really providing a platform to have open and honest discussions around simply what it means to be Black in America,
That's
and
good. That's
the
good.
the that's for Black people, for white people, for
Yes, that's what I
Latinx.
love about your show. Like, it's for everyone
It
to have a
is. It is.
discussion.
I mean, I'd love to have a show, and I'm planning a show now around the it's not racism, but colorism is what it's referred
Woo!
to. Colorism in the Black community, as well
Yeah,
as
yeah,
colorism in between the Latinx community and the Black community, right? And
yeah.
even the difficulties and struggles that we face within these two marginalized communities. These are the conversations that we got to have, and we're not going to be able to move forward and find uh, a rectifying or some healing if we don't have these conversations. So,
And we have to talk about it. We need representation and we need platforms
and we need
to say
platforms.
it. Yeah, and we need platforms
Yeah.
to say it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
love.
and this
Yeah, I
this
love
could be
it.
taking. I've talked to some people who are not from America, and I've heard that this takes place. This racism and this colorism takes place in so many other countries and continents outside of
Yes,
America
indeed.
and
Dominican
North America.
Republic.
Hmm.
A lady had a conversation about how deep that is. Like, we thought we had
I
light skin, dark skin issues.
right. Even in South
There
America.
are other cultures like Jews, Indians. Like, I've had conversations with people like, oh wow, that's the experience. That's
Yes,
exactly it. And
my
just stop.
pastor, my
Like,
pastor just informed me, and I didn't know this until about a week ago, that there was a difference in light skinned and dark skinned Jews. And I won't necessarily quote him because I didn't get a chance to actually look up what the references were yet, but I
right,
will.
right,
But
right.
ultimately, there was a difference between light skinned and dark skinned Jews, and Jesus was a dark skinned Jew.
Yes, he
I
was.
was like, oh. let me look into the racism that he had to deal with. You know what I mean?
I'm sure that he dealt with a lot. Like we've learned that at UMHB, it's a Christian college that I went to, and we learned that about the wool hair and everything that. And I'm like, they say he wrote a book. I have not read it, people. But they say that Jesus wrote a book, and I think it's in another language, but I want somebody to tell us what it says. Kind of scared. I might want to learn the language and then just read it myself because sometimes Western religion will tell you, spare the rod, spoil the child, mean beat your kids. No,
right.
no, it doesn't mean that, So maybe
Well,
I'll read it myself. But yeah, I want to
listen,
know if he experienced racism.
When it comes to, Western religion specifically, I say this all the time. There's a certain denomination that has altered all of the writings, all of the teachings, all to just fit a narrative that coincides with government and monarchy and rule over people. So you have to be very careful when it comes to what you take in regarding religion. You can't take that for granted. You have to do diligent work that helps you understand a little bit better.
And study it. And I can give all credit to the Christian University, UMHB in Belton, Texas. The professors taught you all levels. They taught it to you, and you either accept that that's what the truth is about the Bible and continue your Christian walk, or whatever. But they taught it to us. And it was a lot of wake-up call. It was a serious wake-up call. Yeah.
I'll have to check into that.
Yeah. Okay. And so now I'm going to ask you, Rick, let's talk about, we have already, but your life story, relationships. Did you want to add anything?
I think my relationships, my life story has, like I said earlier, it's been an open book. I have no qualms with sharing any part of my life story at all, right? Whether it be from the beautiful times of what I remember as a child, of going to school and dealing with some of the bullies, but I won't call out any of those bullies. But and I share this with people all the time, so I'll share it live with you on your show. Even to the span of being molested as a kid, to dealing with that and understanding that all of what I experienced throughout my childhood, right? Even the difficulty of dealing with religion and so on between Catholics and Baptists and non-denominationals. Every part of my life has shaped me into being this guy that people really enjoy being around. And I have a family that has always been this example of what love looks like.
That's good.
And learning from my experiences, as I mentioned earlier to one of your questions, my hashtag is get an understanding, right? So
that's it. Yeah,
I think that everything that I've been through has been able to shape me into being who I am, because my motto is get an understanding, right? Understand why certain things happened, why certain reactions took place, why maybe I chose to do this versus that. Digging into what that understanding looks like. Maybe I should have been a philosophy major. I don't know.
I think that I was thinking philosophy, but I was also thinking, I was thinking of something my professor was talking, teaching critical thinking. And I'm like, as you were talking, I'm like, I'm a beginner critical thinker, but he said how it has levels. You really have advanced to the level that you need to be at, Rick, when it comes to critical thinking.
Dee, I appreciate that. Thank you. But and again, when you talk about my story and my relationships and so on and so forth, my critical thinking it's almost a natural talent. It hasn't been anything that's been versed through academia. It's through life experiences.
Learn through school. Like when I went to higher learning, that's when I learned about that, and I was like, it is important to not just jump out there and assume.
Here's the thing. Maybe it could have been while I was attending college and I was in a philosophy class, and we learned if A plus B equals C and B plus A equals D. Like, you know, you remember that philosophy foolishness that they used to give us? Maybe that helped. I don't know. But what I will say is through the life experiences, that includes the things that have happened that are terrible, as well as the things that have happened that are great, right? Those are the things that I've been fortunate enough to take into consideration and be able to form a personality, a person that is able to take all of that and be a great contributor to society. I'll go with that. I'll go with that, and I'm appreciative
Well-rounded
of
is
that.
what I mean. I get critical thinker, well-rounded,
Well, but again,
diverse, inclusive. Like,
also remember that, you know, like I said, you know, both of my parents, both of them, I have to say both of them, I naturally inherited this charisma, this wonderfulness of wanting to be engaging with people, but it was nurtured. It was nurtured and grown by my mother. My mother is who I call Miss Customer Service, and she really is. She's that person who. If people are going to show up for Christmas dinner and they're not in the family and they're a friend, she's going to make sure that they have something, you know, and that's important to her. And I think that I'm grateful. I know that I've inherited that, but I'm grateful that she's the person that was able to nurture that for me.
I love that, and you said something then that proves something that I was watching on Facebook recently. The Dalai Lama was speaking, answering a question regarding what he sees in America, and he says that it's would I guess how to see things change in America. If it's taught at a young age, compassion and love and all that. Those if it's taught young, then we'll see things change. So he's right. The people that don't grow up with that.
Yeah.
So he's like in India and all these different places, there are cultures that they raise their children up this way. So they don't, you know, so I think that is our issue in America.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm worried that especially right now with the past 4 years of the leadership that we've had, we don't have that type of direction anymore. We don't have that type of parental engagement that, you know, the people that want to show what compassionate leadership looks like, what empathetic leadership looks like. These past 4 years, the kids that have seen this, some of them, that's gonna take a toll, and that's gonna lead them in the wrong direction. And I'm sure we'll get into that in one of your future questions here. But
yeah, indeed. But what you're saying is about the young. You know, I'm a psychology major, so these things that children learn in those early years, it takes off and it has its own thing. Like I tell my children, I have 4 grandchildren, and I'm just like the first 5 years. Like my first granddaughter, I was all in, like I'm taking over, you know. But now it's like empty nest, and I have to let them kind of learn it on their own. But literally, come on, you guys, like those first 5 years, please don't mess with those. Like after that, you know, I'll try not to be so hands-on grandma, but I really care about those first 5 years. The yes, ma'am, the no, ma'am, the no, sir, the yes, sir, thank you, you know, all those things, you know.
Well, Dee, I can appreciate the fact that you're a psychology major. If I may add, though, and for any of your viewers that are watching, it's not just the first 5 years. It's the first definite, at least 15 years.
Yeah.
My mother, and I say this time and time again, my mother kept her foot in my ass.
That's good.
That doesn't mean like she was giving me whoopings or spankings or, you know, whatever.
No, I get it.
She was, and not for you. I mean, for any of your viewers. When
I'm just not as
right. The first thing that people think when they hear that is, oh, she beat him, she whooped him. No, it wasn't that. Don't get me wrong. I got my fair share of whoopings. But what she did was she made sure that she was involved in everything that concerned my academics, my social area. But once I got out of that, right, like my relationships, she wasn't involved at all. Like it was just, you know, those are your relationships. That's who you with. That's who you with. You do what you got to do. But during those first formative years up until 18, in fact, as most Black kids understand it to be, why you living under my roof,
Yes.
She was
Yeah.
involved, right? She made
Very involved.
sure,
As for me and my house, and then I used to abuse that scripture. But yeah,
right?
as for me and my house, there are things that are going to happen
Why
that
you
I'm just
living
not
under
going
my
to
roof?
allow
Exactly.
under my roof. And when you give me high school and college graduation, do you, boo? You know, like,
Right.
and my children, I have 3 children. They live through that. And I'm a different parent because I don't like to spank. So I'm going to take your phone away, junior, senior year. If I take your phone in September, you're not getting it back into the Christmas break, right?
Ooh,
So,
ooh,
you
that's a good
know,
one.
I know. And then I will call the phone company and suspend. Okay, get my little discount. So I'm
I
gonna
like that. I
suspend.
like that. I'm taking notes as
So
we're
act up
looking to
if you
have
want
kids
to.
eventually, so I'm taking notes. I like that.
Yes,
I
and
like
and
that.
and and stop giving them freedom, like taking the hint. I learned from Caribbeans because my son's the biological of my son, he
Mm,
was like take things out the room like the game console.
yeah.
Caribbeans take the hinges off take the door off. Put the
Yep.
door in
Take
the
the door off.
garage.
Yep.
Get all your freedom gone. I see some people commenting, and so I'm multitasking here because I saw some comments from Bianca. Hey, beautiful butterfly. Thank you for coming by. And I want to see, can I pull those comments up? So,
Are you seeing the comments on? Well, I'll let you
um,
go ahead and navigate that.
yeah, okay. So there, I think I'm seeing them on Facebook. There they go. Okay, so that I'm not being helpful at all. It's just to turn that volume down. Okay, so Bianca says, yes, these past 4 years have created very negative impact on our youth. Yes, indeed. She also says, Bianca from the Beautiful Butterfly Show, you guys, she says the behaviors they have seen from adults and their very own parents during these past years of leadership has definitely impacted our youth the wrong way. Yes, indeed. She also said, as a teacher, some parents are very unconcerned with what is taking place with their children. Oh. She also says currently with virtual learning, parents are blaming teachers for their kids failing, yet some of the parents are home with them and don't provide support for them. Oh,
That is unfortunate,
that is
but
very unfortunate.
that's the unfortunate state that we're in right now, and that we're dealing
Yeah.
with. I've said this for the past 10 years, maybe 12, that but definitely 10 years. I tip my wait. What are we in 2020? Okay, so maybe 8 years, maybe 8 to 10 years. I
Yeah.
tip my hat off to parents who are raising children because it's a completely different environment that you have to raise children in. And what I mean by that
Yeah. I agree.
specifically is
I agree.
is we when we grew up, right, we would get bullied at school, but we would go home and the bully would stop. The bullying would stop at
Right.
least until we get to school the next day. These kids are dealing with bullying on a different level because they have social media. These kids have access to social media at such a young age that it's literally killing so many kids. It's detrimental and it's
I
horrible,
agree.
but
I
it takes
agree.
a different mindset to raise kids nowadays. And I tip my hat off to
Yes,
anyone,
indeed.
any parent right now that's raising kids, definitely under the age of like 12, but
Yes,
any
indeed.
parent that's had kids, that's 18 or younger. Hats off to you
Yeah,
all. You all are
I
doing
would
a phenomenal
agree.
job, or at least
And
please continue to do a
teachers, you
phenomenal job.
guys are dealing with a lot. I know you are,
Woo!
beautiful butterfly.
Yes.
She knows I'm going to share something funny because I always have something to come to mind. But I went to see my grandchildren. I had to social distance to go see them before they went to Germany, and it was during the pandemic this year. And my granddaughter was in North Carolina, where you are, girl, and she was um, a virtual learning, and I witnessed the teacher stop to flirt with a dad that was at home, and I thought I've seen it all. I blame Trump. I just blame Trump. Did the teacher just flirt with the dad over the screen? Like, what am I listening? And I heard it happening, and I was like, oh wow, oh yeah, it's a
You know what?
different world we're
I'm
in.
not
But
going to disagree. I
yeah,
actually blame Trump for quite a bit of things. But that's
yeah,
again another conversation.
that's
I
yeah,
think
that's
in one of
another
your questions
conversation.
coming up, we'll talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so I always get off topic. They love our blooper. I need an editor.
Well, I need a writer, so I get it.
Okay, we did talk about, I think the next one that we're on right now is
The thoughts about COVID.
I want to share your thoughts on the pandemic. It's sad when Oprah's guest is telling Oprah her question. Okay, so share Rick, share your thoughts on the pandemic, COVID-19. How has it impacted your daily activities and your creative flow?
Well, I think we've just been having great conversations. So I,
Yes,
I wanted to
indeed.
make sure that we got in all of your pertinent questions at least.
Yeah.
So, if for anyone who actually had the chance to check out In Black and White, if you haven't, please, by all means, check out the last show that we did. We had some really great guests that talked about the vaccine specifically, but as well
Right.
as just the implicit biases in healthcare, as I mentioned before. For me, COVID-19 it's really impacted quite a few areas of my life. My other half, unfortunately, contracted it earlier in the
Right.
year.
Right.
My sisters, my aunt, it actually got close to me.
Right.
Luckily, and it's, if I can say, blessedly, I don't know if that's a
Right.
thing, but we'll say that. No one lost their life in my immediate familial circle. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
However, being in close proximity to it with so many family members, apparently I have no antibodies. So
Oh
I have
wow. Wow.
contracted. I don't think I've contracted it at least. But then again,
Yeah.
it's been a duration of time since I was right up under it. Um,
Right.
my, my wonderful partner and other half and fiance, and several different members of my family are still dealing with
The aftermath.
the longevity, the
Yeah.
effects and symptoms that come with this virus.
Right.
I fortunately was in the position of returning to the career that I'm about to return to, and
Right.
furloughed as a restaurant manager, and did not. I was out of work for 6 months, so it impacted
Wow.
us financially. He was out
Exactly.
for a month and a half. I was out of work for 6 months, right? So we didn't
Right.
have a steady source of income. Through,
Right.
I will say this unequivocally, through the grace of God, through the grace of God, we were able to not want for anything.
Wow.
Okay. We were able to survive through everything.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
had a phenomenal and wonderful, empathetic landlord. Although she wanted to,
Wow.
get the rent that she needed, she understood.
Yeah.
Right? We
That's
had
what's needed.
friends and family who just out of the kindness of their hearts, without knowing our situation, donated or sent us, some money just to make it through the week. This
Right.
pandemic really gave me a visibility of
Yeah.
what humanity looks like at its most beautiful
That's
point.
it. That's
But it
it.
also gave us a vision of the worst of humanity.
It split it in half like those boats that he thinks split
Yeah,
in half. But
exactly,
like it
exactly.
literally showed you black and white. I mean, just
It did.
no
It
pun
did. It did.
intended,
It did.
but it
It
showed you
definitely
the
did.
black and white of people. Like it really did. It
It
showed.
did.
We knew, some
It's
of us
right.
knew,
Right.
but yeah, yeah,
It's also given me an opportunity to explore a little bit more about science, and I've gotten a chance to
right.
look a little bit more into science
Good. Me
and
too. Yeah.
what what we have that's out there, what the conspiracy theories that people come up with. Like there's just so
Right.
much that COVID-19 has exposed us to. But I will tell you this, Dee, um, and I just posted this the other day on my social media. What I did learn is that some people don't really understand the responsibility that our American freedoms afford us. We don't
Right.
understand the responsibility that comes with that. And if we're not careful, we're going to end up, as Big Mama say, getting it taken away.
That's
We're
it.
not going to have these freedoms because some of y'all don't
Yeah.
understand what the responsibility is that comes with them. We have put
Yeah.
so many
That's it.
people's lives at risk consistently that even in our current leadership and administration, that we might end up not having these same freedoms down the line. History, history might be judged in a manner
Indeed.
that we won't have these freedoms anymore because of how we responded.
Indeed.
during this pandemic.
Indeed. It has shown, I saw agendas happen in the political, we're going to go there in just a moment, but I saw things happen that people need to understand that politically other agendas, I would like a glass of water also. So that's why that glass of water, I was like, that looks good.
This isn't
Um,
water. This is
oh,
adult
yeah.
water. Okay, remember I have
That's
adult
adult
beverages.
water.
This is
I
adult
forgot you
water.
had the adult water. But I saw agendas put in place, Rick, after New York's bird called the police incident. And so I kind of see in this social distancing where, you'll go to Walgreens and there's like a little circle, and then the next circle is way back there
Sure.
by the pharmacy. And you're like, I don't
Right.
need all that just to check out. We do need our distance, but I'm seeing other agendas because of the things that happen. We are going to lose some freedoms due to the things that have been exposed
I
over
promise
the
you.
last 4
I
years.
can almost promise you. But I also
Yeah.
feel like this is giving me a perspective on if I decide to run for some political office,
That's good.
taking this experience to help shape
And
and form our government.
as soon as you run for a political office, I'm gonna have this edited. I'm going to make sure that only the great point. You guys are not gonna do me like the pastor for Barack Obama. I'm gonna
Hey,
I'm gonna
again,
edit
listen, I'm an open book, Ms. D. Whatever
this.
this I understand. It's on the internet, so it's coming out. So,
It's coming out. It's
but
already in the
I'm
red cards. Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm running for office
Yeah.
by any means, but I've had a lot of
You
people that
really
said
can. You have the calling on your life. You really should.
right. I've
Yeah.
heard that before. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for that.
Yes.
Public service is something that I enjoy doing. Excuse me, but I don't know if I could do public service in the facet in which our government allows public service to be ran or to be executed. For example, we're still waiting on some type of relief from our government.
From that one-time payment when Canada, all the other countries have given monthly aid, shut their countries down, made sure that their people were okay, gave them monthly money, I repeat, and we had a
Here
one-time
we
payment.
are. People want to be free and go dine in restaurants. Don't get me wrong. As a restaurant manager, I understand the gig working that is taking a hit, but we could have had a lot better policies and strategies for this than we did.
That's right.
So, I'm not saying I am going to run. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm just saying if in the event something happens that I decide maybe I can make an impact in government to support the common person in our country, it could be a thing. We'll see what happens.
Okay, I'm going to throw in a question that's not on here when you said that.
Okay.
How powerful will the presence of Pete Buttigieg? Is that how you say his last name?
That is Buttigieg.
How powerful will that be? Will you be watching for going about doing that?
So let me preface this by saying, and as much as I've gotten a little bit of some kind of rebuttal to this, Pete Buttigieg was my initial candidate that I supported in the primaries.
Bernie Sanders was mine, so
and Bernie Sanders was a lot. Yeah, Bernie Sanders because there's so much progressiveness that needs to happen between both of those candidates, as well as Elizabeth Warren. There were so many candidates that had much more of a progressiveness than what we get in Joe Biden. Having said that, I think that the Democratic Party allows for a lot more progressiveness of what our younger generations are growing up in, right? We have several generations, Generation Z, Gen Z, millennials. They grew up with terms that you and I didn't grow up with, right? They're growing up with people in their classes who are transgender. They have an exposure to the LGBTQ community that we never really had. So they're going to need a progressive leadership that's going to help them move forward. The conservative mindset is just not going to be beneficial to either of those generations. So having said that, to answer your question, Pete Buttigieg is going to, I think in his position, I think it's what, transportation secretary or
I think
something?
so, which I think it's going to he needed to be somewhere. So I didn't
Yes.
understand the transportation, but
Right.
they
I
need to
don't
be
I don't
somewhere.
know, but he's in the
Yep.
cabinet. And
Right.
don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
we've had out LGBTQ members in our government
In
before,
Congress. Hmm.
but
Yeah.
right in
Hmm.
Congress, but to
Hmm.
have one that's out as he is and previously ran for the presidential spot. I think
Exactly.
that it's great to see that, right?
Exists. Yeah.
I'll say this to any of your viewers, and I've said this before. Illinois just recently was in conversations and discussions, and I think we actually passed that the LGBTQ history will be taught in public schools. Maybe it was just the city of Chicago, not sure, but either way, there
Wow.
was this
That's
big
good.
uproar about the fact that LGBTQ history is now being taught in public schools. Other states have been doing this for quite some time. We're actually
Right.
behind the eight ball. My
Right.
my my appeal to that argument was people, specifically kids, need to see that they are validated. They need to see that people like them are in positions of success. They need to see that. So
Exactly.
why prohibit the visibility or restrict the visibility of
Exactly.
LGBTQ kids to be able to see that they can be successful in whatever avenue of life they choose.
Exactly.
Having Pete
Hmm.
Buttigieg in that position gives kids the validation that they can
Yes,
even be
indeed.
in politics and be
And the
okay.
White House administration,
And be
that
okay.
matters. That matters. I really believe that Joe Biden will be the end. He's going to be a bipartisan movement, and he will be the end of this Republican Democrat thing. The next run, I believe, is going to be an independent, like huge
I hope
following
so.
run.
I hope
Yeah,
so.
and
Yeah,
it's
I hope so. I
yeah.
don't necessarily agree with you that he's going to be the end of what I
Okay,
do hope
that's
for.
strong, right?
I know that
Yeah.
and here's the reason why. I was just recently as a guest co-host on the Buchanan and Seaton show on WVON AM 1690 here in Chicago, the Talk of Chicago, and
Okay.
Atiba and I, the other host of the show, we were talking about what the Republican Party currently looks like, and it looks like a cult. It looks like a cult for real. And I don't know if Joe
It
Biden
does.
understands that what he's about to engage in, dealing with this bipartisanship that he's so experienced in dealing with, is that his previous Republican exposure is
Right.
not like what it is now. The Republican
Exactly.
Party now has turned into a cult, a Donald Trump
A
cult,
white supremacist cult, if
a
I could
white
be bold enough.
supremacist cult,
Yeah.
and what
Hmm.
they call
Hmm.
nationalist cult. And
Right.
unfortunately, I don't know if Joe really understands that. Now, he has
Right.
history of working across the
Right.
aisle. He knows how to do that. But this Republican Party is different.
I
And
think that
he's
Kamala Harris does understand it.
I'm sure she does. And I'm
Yeah.
and if you want my honest opinion, I'm just going to put this out there. I shouldn't, but we'll keep this between us. Tell your
Yeah.
viewers to tune out for just a second. I
One
think
second.
I think Vice President-elect Kamala Harris might eventually migrate into the seat of the presidential of being
I've
president.
been saying it. I said that the vice president elect is going to be here for 4 years. I had this argument on the Denver Post. With my trolls, I have a wonderful fan base in white supremacist trolls in Denver, and I said to them that you get ready because she's in the vice president position, but she's going to be here for 8 years, and she will lead on that second side on a side of things. So
Well,
get
all the
ready.
to
Yeah.
all my Divine Nine Greek fraternity and sorority members, we are
Yeah. Yeah.
celebratory in the fact that we
Indeed.
now
Indeed.
have a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated
Yes.
that will be
Yes.
having the vice president seat of the
And
United
all
States of
the
America.
time I tried to promote my book on my own, and all I had no idea that if I had just reached out to the Divine Nine, I would have sold multiple thousands of copies because the way that you guys show up. No,
We
it's
do.
gonna be a great look. I love every bit of that. But you're right. He won't change it all. The what will change a lot of things, voters in Georgia, you have to give him a Democrat Senate. If you
Yep.
don't do that, it'll be just like the 8 years of Obama didn't have that.
He had
So
6 years, I believe, of opposition. I think he
yeah,
had his
right.
first 2 years. He had all of the Democratic seats, but After that,
Okay.
it
After that,
flipped.
it just went
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the important part. So Georgia, I'm watching Georgia very closely,
Aren't
very
we
closely.
all?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, we
All
all
right.
are.
Let's move on before we run out of time. I want to hear, even though I've heard quite a bit, your thoughts of injustice in Black America, Black Lives Matter, the pain facing the Black community, the judicial system, all of the pain that we have going on right now on the front and center.
I'm so grateful that I was able to participate and host a discussion around specifically racism in healthcare.
That's great.
Um, it really, I think that as Black Americans are specifically descendants of chattel slavery and descendants of enslaved Africans. We are faced with so much hardship, and I'm grateful that I have a platform that we can bring these conversations to light.
Mm-hmm.
But the unfortunate part about it is we are still dealing with it, and we still have to have these conversations.
That's a lot. A lot.
It's unfortunate, and
Yeah.
I hope that at some point our younger generations, probably Generation Z, is going to do better with
Yeah.
inclusiveness and
Mm-hmm.
equality
Mm-hmm.
for Black Americans. Um, but the reality uh, is that if we, as we currently look at it now, we have one party, one majority party, the Democratic Party,
Right.
that is addressing, or at least speaking to the addressing of
Right.
systemic racism, and we have
Right.
another party, the cult of Donald Trump, that
That's
won't
it.
even acknowledge that there is
Find
systemic
that they
racism.
will deflect. They deflect. They deflect. That is the deflection era.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
continuous. Black people are being the victims, and playing this victim mentality instead of acknowledging, hey, there is systemic racism that needs to be addressed and fixed. And
Mm-hmm.
if as long as we have this bipartisan system, I've said this before, and I'll continue to say this. Although the Democratic Party does speak to systemic racism, neither party really has the best interest of Black Americans at heart, specifically the descendants of chattel slavery or the descendants of enslaved Africans.
I agree.
Neither one of them really have the best interest of us at heart. So
I agree.
I don't know how we're going to work around that yet, but I do think that with this particular year and the summer that we had of acknowledgement of racist attacks, the conversation is a lot more prolific than it was in the
Yes.
60s.
Yeah, it is.
And
It's more broad. I think that we're going to push a little further. We may not
yes,
go all the way, but we definitely are going
right.
somewhere. Yeah.
We won't see in our lifetime
Yeah.
the eradication of racism, but
Right.
I'm confident that the Generation Z and the younger generation after that is probably going to rid at least our country, hopefully our
Yeah.
country, of racist behavior. Because, like I said earlier, this is an inclusive generation, right? They are growing up with trans kids in their class. They're growing up
Yeah.
with exposure to inclusivity,
Yes. It's
right?
a little
So,
different. That's something that used to be hidden in the classroom or the family member
look,
that could come over to the dinner because of, and
right, right,
yeah.
and I'm just gonna put this out there. I hope this isn't too profound, or I'll say it as adult as I can.
Okay.
We're probably going to have people in our government that's a generation or two underneath us that have OnlyFans accounts.
Wow.
Okay, so they're going to be in
Okay.
government running our
So,
country with OnlyFans accounts. I mean,
we're gonna
that's
step
just
on
real.
that.
Like, everybody has OnlyFans accounts now.
That's
These kids
facts.
growing
That's
up, you
facts.
know what I mean? So, like,
I have a confession to make. I don't appreciate him calling me out, but hashtag hashtag Honey and I on OnlyFans. If you see that, that might be a particular chick. Yeah.
hey,
So you're right.
well, but look at that. So, you know what I mean? Like, but our generation's a little bit more
Exactly.
minuscule. these
Yeah.
generations coming up under us, like everybody has
Yeah.
one, right? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Especially during this
exactly.
pandemic. So these are
Yeah.
the people
Yeah.
that are going to be running our country one day. They have OnlyFans
Exactly.
accounts. It's fine. That's inclusivity.
Exactly.
They're going to have a
That's
different
good.
conversation. They're going to have a different
Right.
exposure, especially the
Right.
kids that are growing up now that had to sit a year or two outside of school and who
Right.
knew what it was like being in a classroom and had to come out and do virtual learning and can go
Right.
back to class.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
mindset, that mindset is going to
Exactly.
change the way inclusivity works.
I
So,
think that it's going to change how school works as well. Teachers in the audience, Bianca, I believe that we're going to go into an era where you guys will do a lot of virtual teaching post pandemic.
well, I mean,
I think a
I'm
lot
sure it
is going to
could.
happen from this.
But
Yeah.
to circle back to your question, your original question, I personally think that's going to attribute to a diminishing, maybe not in a complete
But okay.
eradication, but a
Hmm.
diminishing of racism and systemic racism.
You know what? If the black leaders would have conversations with the Native Americans, it would go a lot faster.
From your
Yeah.
lips to God's ears.
That's it. That's it. Okay, so, I know kind of what your thoughts are, but maybe all the viewers are not.
Okay.
What are your full thoughts on the election win? You shared some already. The win, the refusal to concede, that didn't talk
So,
to me.
ultimately, I was twofold here. I'm ecstatic that Joe Biden won. Okay, I'm ecstatic that Kamala Harris, member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, let's throw that out there
You
as
guys
a
did
Divine Nine
so
member,
much. I said, Divine Nine, please promote my books. Thank
as
you.
a
And
member
thank
of
you.
Phi Beta Signal Fraternity Incorporated. I have to throw that out there. But
Yeah.
I'm grateful and I'm looking forward to some things that are going to change in regards to what's important to me as a member of so many communities that are looked after, if you will, by the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party. However, I will say that I wish one thing. Well, the first thing, I wish that there was more representation from different platforms and parties. I hate this bipartisan system that we have. I hate it.
Hmm.
I think it's
Hmm.
horrible for our country. I think it's horrible for the moving forward and the ability for
We
our
need an
country to evolve.
independent.
We need
Yeah.
we need more than just an
Yeah.
independent, Ms. D.
Yeah.
We need we need representation from different platforms, right? Maybe
Okay.
Black
Okay.
Americans should have their own platform. Indigenous Americans should have their own platform.
I
Latinx
like it.
should have their own
I
platform
like
and
that.
be able to contribute to what our government looks like on many different platforms. However,
I like
having
it. I
said
like it.
that, I am 100% glad, 100% glad that every time this current administration and even some of the Republicans that are too scared and are bullied by him got shot down.
Yeah.
100% glad, and
Yeah.
I hope that there is some repercussion
I do
um,
too. I do
that
too.
our administration is held
Yes.
to, because our
Hmm.
administration held
Hmm.
on to this. I'm going to say it. This white supremacist belief that
Yeah.
has cost so many Americans their lives through this pandemic,
Exactly.
whether it be
Exactly.
financially or literally.
Exactly.
We've
Exactly.
lost
Exactly.
so many of our brothers and
Exactly.
sisters. And at the end of the day, although we may be separated by party beliefs or platform beliefs, we're still America. This is still our country. This is still a country that we should be able to defend together. And our current administration did not project that
They
leadership
felt
at
us.
all.
Yeah. In my arrow voice, Donald Trump, you failed this country. Okay, so
Failed,
you failed.
failed,
Failed.
failed this country.
Failed this country.
I say this
I
all the
mean,
time.
that's jail time. You said lock her up. Dude, lock you up. Like
Lock
when I
him
say
up.
lock him up for so
Because,
much.
and I've said this on our show
Yeah.
in Black and White several times, Ms. D. If I were the CEO or president of a company and it goes under, I'm responsible for that. This
Right.
president is responsible for our country and the bad decisions that he makes. He ran this country as if it was a business. When you run a country as a business and you make piss poor decisions, people die. And here we are. People have died. You, sir, should be held accountable for that. People who are CEOs,
to have a year for every life. Indeed.
People who are CEOs that make white collar crimes get imprisoned, right? He made decisions, and in running this country as if it was a business, he should be held accountable for that. He was the president. He did not lead like he should have. He should be held accountable. That's my take on it.
I agree. And I don't want him to go run off and try to live on the island with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, you need to be held accountable.
He's trying his hardest
to run off.
Well, no, he's even trying to present a preemptive pardon for himself.
I saw, and I heard from an expert that he can.
Hey,
and that's really terrifying.
I'm going to say this, and I don't know if I can say this on your show, but I'm going to say it because I think you said this earlier. What kind of shit is that? All right.
I don't even understand why we need to say it. I don't want those little trumpets. I'm talking about his children, not the.
I don't. Yes, his trumpets. Yes.
Like,
yes.
I don't.
Yep, that's what I call him too.
I don't want them to go free. I don't want him to go free. And girl, Melania, after hearing what you said on that video, girl, you could go to jail too. Like, I mean, they need to be locked up. They need to be locked up. Because what are you teaching the children that saw him get away with that if you don't lock him up?
Yep.
They need to be locked up. Yeah. I feel strong on that one. It's okay. We're here on I Am Dee Shields. I am unapologetically unbothered by those who do not agree. Okay?
We're there.
That's it. So and let me ask you this fun one. What's your most adventurous trip or activity in your lifespan? The most adventurous thing that you've done?
Whew. 2 of them. So the first one is my trip with some really great friends to Key West. I did not know. So I remember going down to Key West for the first time with some friends, and I had the best time. We had a great time, but I did not know the how I guess the broad spectrum of the LGBTQ community in Key West. I had no idea. But also, on top of that, I didn't know that people in Key West live like they're on vacation. Like, they live there like they're on vacation.
I think that's what attracts me, like, to live somewhere. Like, people say it's like that here. It depends on where.
Right.
Like, if I'm up there, living maybe in Aspen or Telluride or something like that, or Loveland possibly, but when you're closer and Denver's across the street, it's city life.
I loved it down there also because I love humidity and I love heat. But Duval Street was the best time ever. But also jumping out of a plane, I think 2 times now, was great, and I can't wait to do it again.
What? I'm going to do it only one time, and I'm doing it one time in my lifetime, and that's it.
I'm going to tell you now, Ms. D, that it is addictive. It is very addictive, and it's relieving. It's alleviating. It's free. I enjoyed what every time that I did it, and I can't wait to do it again.
I love that. Okay, that's adventurous right there. 2 or 3 times, and he can't wait to go again.
Yeah. Let me jump out of a plane, throw that parachute, and just kind of coast. So.
Okay, so have you jumped over? Did any bungee jumping, anything like that yet?
Never done bungee jumping. Just did free falling and then parachute.
Yeah. I like seeing things like that because I watch King Karan's on Amazon. Are you watching that?
Not yet, no.
That white people shit. Oh, I love it because people may not understand the concept of the show, but when you start watching it, like he's as a black man doing things that they're like, why are y'all doing that white people shit? Oh, he's so funny.
I'll have to check it out. You have to send me the link. I'll check it out.
You'll love it. You'll love it. Okay, so how can the viewers connect with you across social media? Give those handles out. Let's make sure that they know how to follow you.
Sure, absolutely. So on Facebook and Twitter, it's Rick Lockhart, Lockhart. Roman numeral 2. For those of you that may not know, that means I. That's all you have to do. Put in Rick Lockhart I. But that's
New
both
lessons
on.
We learn something new every day.
I listen. I was trying
have
to tell
be
people like
told.
it's Roman numerals are a thing. But Rick
It's a
Lockhart,
thing. It's a thing.
Roman numeral 2 on both Twitter as well as Facebook. On Instagram, it's Rick L and the number 2. And then, just on, like I said, YouTube, it's youtube.com/YFNA News. You can check out all of our content there. Please, again, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, help us continue to build content. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And you guys are also you said one other platform, Anchor, for those I know some Anchor people. So is it the
And
same
again,
one?
on Anchor, it's YFNA News.
Okay, YFNA News. You guys, I can give you more of him, and that's why we keep having a part 1, part 2, part 3.
Right.
I'm gonna bring him back when he's the mayor of Chicago. I'm gonna bring him back. When he goes into the White House, I'm gonna bring him back. Like we'll be talking to Rick for a long time. We're gonna be
We
having
will
a
be. We
conversation.
will be in touch for a
Yeah.
long time. Yes,
Yeah,
we
I
will, Miss D.
appreciate it. And
always
I want to
appreciate
look
being
to
on your show.
see. Absolutely. Let's see if the viewers had some more things to say to you. Oh, I need a refresh, and I have one of my friends listening. She's like, "Your bloopers, girl, they're hilarious." All right, let's go back. Okay, so let's see. So we heard again from Bianca. What did you say here? The teacher said she can't take too much more social distancing, so she had to holler at the daddy. Girl, yes, ma'am. That's literally what was going on. And she said the dad said one time a kid came on and said, Mrs. I won't say her name, North Carolina.
Sure.
And so she said, he said, Mrs. Whatever, what's your favorite color flower? And I'm like, did he use the baby? Oh, goodness. So he was definitely not the most faithful of husbands.
I was going to say, right, exactly. Some of these parents.
Okay, directly, what are your thoughts on the vaccine? Does he see himself getting the vaccine?
Wow. Okay. So again, I think that it would be great for you to check out whoever the person was that asked that question.
That's Bianca Fly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bianca. Okay. I definitely want to get you the video, the YouTube link of or just go to YFNA News. Check out our most recent conversation around that. Here's my thing when it comes to the vaccine. I have no qualms about getting the vaccine by any means. I was, as a child, vaccinated with MMR and so many other vaccines growing up as a kid, right? So if we're required to get the vaccine, I'll get the vaccine. If I'm not required to get the vaccine, I won't necessarily get it, and here's why. I have never gotten the flu vaccine, and I've never gotten the flu. If I happen to get the flu at some point, then I'll start getting the flu vaccine. Didn't get COVID, and I was up under COVID, right? So if in the event I'm mandated to get the vaccine, I'll get the vaccine. But if I don't have to get the vaccine, then I don't want to waste it on me, because in my setting, I didn't contract COVID. And when I tell you in my setting, for those of you that don't understand, when I say my fiance and I, we slept in the same bed, we were right up under each other up until he actually was diagnosed. And I did not contract it, and unfortunately he did. So if I didn't have a reaction or adverse reaction to it, I mean, if I didn't contract the virus enough to get symptoms, save that vaccine for someone else. So I don't necessarily need to get it. But if I'm mandated to get it, or if my job says we need to get it, then I'll get it. I have no qualms about getting it, especially after the conversation that we just had on In Black and White about the vaccine. I have no qualms getting the vaccine.
And I see that, and I say that we do need 75% herd immunity. I heard that, so I think that's important that we reach that 75%. Don't you think?
Your current administration said herd mentality, so I don't know why you call it immunity when your current president said herd mentality.
Well, I don't know what the Yosemite was he even thinking.
Exactly. Although we all know it's herd immunity.
Right there.
He said herd mentality, whatever.
He called it herd
again,
mentality.
like I said, I'm dealing with the general public, right? So if in the event I'm mandated to get it in any facet, right? Whether it's through my work or through the community that I live in or whatever, if I'm mandated to get it, then I'll get it. But if I'm not, I don't necessarily think that it's worth risk. I mean, I don't have to waste a vaccine on me, but and that's only because my current or my history with being engaged. Like I work at Costco. I'm engaged with
You
people at
probably
a close
already come
basis
across it.
all day, right? Exactly. All day, every day for 8 hours,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And not to mention, I
Yeah.
slept next to someone who was positive for COVID, and I did not contract it. So if I don't necessarily need to get it, I won't, but I have no problems getting it if I need to get it.
I like you the way that you said that. Now, as a leader, as a manager over staff, something came out over this weekend, I believe, that it would put jobs on the line. That people, their jobs are going to have the right to say that if you don't take the vaccine, you can't come back.
Listen, then I will be
Yeah.
first in line. Keep my
Yeah.
job right here. Go ahead in this arm, in this one, where my brand is, right here. I got a brand right here.
Don't
Go right
starve. Yeah, exactly. Don't starve. Don't starve. Yeah, exactly. Like that's a different
especially if
thing.
they correlate
Yeah.
mandating the vaccine to getting the COVID relief. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Again, I'll be
you're gonna
right
see
there,
so
front
many
line,
people change.
right
Everybody's
there.
gonna turn around and be like, "Well, that thing that I did say about the vaccine, the
Right?
reason why I'm gonna
Exactly.
go ahead and get it is, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of people change right there." Okay, so Nicole, hey Nikki, over there down there in Fort Hood, Texas. So she says, but the other vaccines had time to be tested. This has just been 1 year. One thing that I'll
Okay.
say about that, Nicole,
Let me
and then I'm
jump
gonna
in on
let
that
you
too when you
say
get.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know what you already know. Say it because I've seen that
So
so much. Please
So,
clarify
if
that.
again, Nicole, please allow me to send. Let me find you. So, or Dee, please share the video or watch the
I
video
will.
on Ms. D
No,
on
I'm
Ms.
gonna
D's
send
page.
them over there. We're gonna put the link under. They have to watch it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
let's be clear. This vaccine was not recently or just over the past year developed. This
Right.
vaccine for coronavirus has been worked on since 2000 and maybe like two or
Ebola,
something
SARS.
for
Dr.
years.
Kizzy.
For quite some
Right.
time. It's
Right.
not just this past year that they've come up with this vaccine. The vaccine that they have was based on years of research and vaccination trials and vaccination creativity, science and technology over years for the coronavirus. What they did was they were able to use all of that research and data that they had to attribute it to this current strand of coronavirus, which we call COVID-19. This vaccination was not just brought out of thin air since February.
No,
They have been
they've been
working
working on
on
the
a
coronavirus.
vaccine for coronavirus.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I don't think people understand that COVID-19 is a coronavirus, which Lysol has been putting on their label that they fight for decades, right? Coronavirus has been around for so long.
And I noticed the new Lysol commercial, effective for COVID-19. You go, Lysol. You get that in there.
Exactly. Or maybe it was like Clorox
there.
or something. Like everybody has been fighting coronavirus for a long time, but now we've gotten exposure to, now that we have COVID-19. But please understand that this vaccine, from what I've learned in our conversations in Black and White, from the data that I've been able to look up, coronavirus vaccines that they've been working. Scientists have been working on that for quite some time now. This new vaccine is not relatively new within this year. It's something that's been worked on for quite some time.
And the oxymoron, can I say to our community, since our community is tuned in?
Sure.
The oxymoron of you guys going on that epic vacation to put on Instagram, you go to get your travel vaccine. Girl, I have not seen not one of you resist that travel vaccine to travel for that epic vacation. I'm not picking on any one person, but like really, literally, people, we travel, we get the vaccine. When our children had to go to college, you wanted that first year so you could go and have that freedom. I know I've been there when they said you got to take them to get the vaccine. I took those kids to get the vaccine for college. Like
Ms.
we did it. We've done it.
I wish you would say that again. I wish you would say that again, because that's an important part about this conversation. And again, you'll find this in the discussion that we had. Black Americans, specifically descendants of chattel slavery, descendants of enslaved African Um, uh, uh, we have been let down by the healthcare community. We have a skepticism that's warranted. It's not our fault that we have the skepticism.
Not at all.
We let down and still are let down, right? We don't even have to talk about the Tuskegee experiment and Henrietta Lacks necessarily. We can talk about
you can just talk about your own doctor visit last year.
We can talk about the disproportionate rate that we have resources in our communities, right? But ultimately, the important thing for us to do is find the facts, right? Be able to reach out to individuals. If you can find individuals, and I know they're scarce, but find individuals that identify in the Black and brown communities who are scientists who can help you navigate these discussions so that you have a little bit better information. You're right, Ms. D. As you said, we get vaccines if we want to go travel over to Thailand, right? We got to get these vaccines. We're going to go. We want to go over to the motherland, Africa. We got to get these vaccines. We're going to get them. Right?
Yeah.
Why are we having such a difficulty with this particular vaccine? Because we think that this vaccine just came up this past February. No, that's not the case. So it's very important.
Misinformation that a group of people that they put out there, and subliminal messages have been thrown in all these movements. In the pandemic, in COVID-19, in Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain, Ahmaud Arbery. These subliminal messages have been put out there on purpose. One particular TV streaming platform likes to put their top 10. Let's go Lovecraft Country, and all of a sudden all the guns sold out. Like subliminal messaging to put fear into the people has been on a level I've never seen it before.
Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm excited about December 21st.
Yeah.
Have you heard about December 21st?
No, 21st? What's going on? No.
How did you not hear about it?
Oh, is that when I'm gonna be? I heard that on Rolling Out. I was listening to their show. We're gonna be superheroes, right?
We're gonna be superheroes, right? We're gonna be superheroes.
I'm Black Thunder, everybody. Don't take her. From Black Lightning, I'm Thunder. I'm stomping my foot. I got that.
I'm just calling Black Flight. That's what I'm calling. I'm calling Black Flight.
Tell the viewers about that.
I'm gonna be out flying. You know what I mean? Because I have dreams about this all the time, and I'm just naturally flying. So on the theory is on December 21st, on winter solstice of 2020, because Jupiter and Saturn will be aligned on the day that the Earth is the furthest. At least in the northern hemisphere, away from the sun, the winter solstice. Apparently, our DNA as Black Americans, as Black people, our DNA is going to be unleashed for us to be able to tap into our superhero powers.
Yeah.
Can't wait. We'll see what happens.
We're going to see what happens. But here's a message that I want to give the viewers, really in the fun of that, because we already are, I'm Superwoman. We've been that superpower, kings and queens, but way before they acknowledged it. But I want you guys to be very careful, because Proud Boys are who they're trying to really push that narrative with, because there's a certain mindset that's going to go out and try to attack us out of fear that that's really going to happen.
Well, have you seen?
So we have to be real careful and watch your front, back, side, everything. Make sure you're packing. Do everything you need to do on the 21st, because there's going to be some idiots. But I got Black Thunder in me without the powers. But
well, I don't know if you got a chance to follow the hashtag Proud Boys on Twitter. But if you haven't, definitely check out hashtag Proud Boys on Twitter, because
wake up.
The gay men of Twitter took over hashtag
I like
Proud
your
Boys.
Proud Boys. I love your hashtag. Yeah, I love that hashtag. Y'all took over. Y'all run.
We sure did. We sure did.
That. And it needed to be hushed down, because I fear that just things are put out subliminally. I do want us to know that in the winter solstice, in the paradigm shift that is happening, we are somewhere else, Black people, and we are going to have to represent that in the best way. You have to pull up your pants and let the white boys keep on sagging. Like, I mean, no disrespect, but we have to really, really get it together, because this is our season. This is our year coming up in 2021, and it's going to make or break you.
Hopefully.
If you stay on the wrong side of it, it's going to make or break you. So,
Yeah.
Rick, I could go on and on. You already know that we can. Nicole responded to you, I believe, and then we're going to let you get out of here because I know it smells good. I know Sunday dinner smells good over there.
Listen, Sunday dinner is
I
like
know.
smelling good. I need to replenish my adult water here.
That's it.
But
Exactly. Exactly.
but
So
please go
she
ahead.
finished up and said, well, she said she never heard of that. So that's why I like sharing the different perspectives with the viewers. She
Sure.
said, but I do know that that's a Bethlehem star that will appear. So I thank you for breaking that down because a lot of people haven't heard about
And
December 21st. And
that's
yeah,
what they've been calling it. They've
yeah,
been calling it the
yeah.
Bethlehem Star. Is
Yeah,
they're
yeah, I
calling.
love it.
But
I love it because it even if just the messaging alone empowers you to be great, I'm with it.
yeah,
I'm with
Jupiter and
it.
Saturn.
Yeah,
They're going to be aligned, the two biggest
yeah,
planets in our solar system, and they're
yeah,
going to be visible to the naked eye. I don't know
yeah,
what time. Like I still got to look into that, but I'm looking
yeah.
forward to it. And if I can run outside and fly out of my second story window, I'm not going to try it, but we'll see.
And also watch December 21st. The tech community is saying a lot of changes are happening on social
Hey,
media, including
listen,
Facebook. So
Ms.
yeah.
Z, the McRib is back. So as my good big brother and I always talk about, when the McRib is back, they're covering up something. So the
Always.
McRib is
Isn't that
back.
true?
That's what I tell people.
Isn't
The
that
McRib is
so?
back.
That is a good one, Rick. I isn't that so true?
Hey, that I attribute that to my big bro Adam Fontanetta. He's big on that. When the McRib is back, something is being
Something's
hidden.
been
So
yeah. Well, that algorithm is going to change how you guys interact. You need to do the research. I'll try to get a guest on so we can talk about it. But people, do your research on how social media is going to move on December 21st going forward, please.
see,
Because what
we'll
I heard
see.
about it, a lot of changes. We're going to follow you on social media. I want you to put the link under for all the relevant shows regarding our conversation today. So that they can actually click it and watch it. When you go subscribe, support, I appreciate you guys. You guys have been active in there, and I appreciate it. My nephew, shout out to Bashir, serving in the military over there in Florida. He said McRib and laughing emojis. Like, Bosh,
Well,
why?
to your
Isn't that
nephew,
hilarious? Isn't that
Bashir,
hilarious?
please let me extend,
No.
and to all of the service members who are watching, is Ms. D, I know that you are
Yeah.
a recipient of that too as well, and
Yeah.
in that life, I want to extend, as always, my gratitude and thanks
Yeah.
to all of
Thank
those who have served, to the family members who continue to sacrifice their with their loved ones. Thank you to all of you who have lost, and to you who continue to serve. Thank you, because I can't live this life that I live comfortably and and with my fiance without that service and without that commitment and without that sacrifice. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you for saying that and for recognizing that, Rick. And I hope that my military friends can invite you on their platforms because
Please.
there's a very relevant conversation happening regarding your community. And I think you would be the perfect spokesperson
Hey,
post
I'd love to.
pandemic.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys follow Rick. And okay, so our previous Rick is funny because he goes by Sick Flow, but he's
His name is
Ricardo.
Rick too.
Yeah, he's Ricardo Valentine because Black's name, his son, is Ricardo Valentine, and the other baby is Ricardo. Yeah, so this, yeah,
And
I
I'm
thought,
and I'm actually Ricardo Lockhart. I won't give you my first name. That's my government name. We save that for
okay,
bill collectors and the police. But
okay,
where Rick comes from for me is Ricardo.
wow,
So
and y'all both from. I'm gonna say it right. This time I learned it today with you. Y'all both
get
from
it,
Baltimore.
Baltimore,
Baltimore. Am I getting the
Baltimore,
D in there?
yeah, Baltimore.
Baltimore. Y'all both from. Yeah, I thought. I hope you watch his interview,
That's
and I'm gonna
the
tag him. Yeah, y'all
that's
need
the
to
place that
connect.
D with the D. It's Baltimore.
It's Baltimore. I
Yeah,
think
that's
I got
it.
it. Baltimore.
I didn't know Sick Flo was from Baltimore too. I can't wait to reach
Yes,
out to him.
indeed. Yes, and yeah, please. I can't wait to see you guys connect. Also, great friendships happening here on I Am Dee Shields. Rick, thank you so much. I will talk your head off. We're gonna go over and check out some episodes of In Black and White. Ethan, please come on the show, please. Thank you so much, Rick. And you have a good one. Okay.
Thank you so much, D. I
We
appreciate
appreciate
being on here.
you.
Thanks so much.
Viewers, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for the feedback and for following and for talking back. We cannot say enough that sharing and liking in our world, it makes or breaks us. So
It's a
we
huge
appreciate it.
difference. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.